What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, saints and inks, and welcome to Lactic Acid, the podcast where the takes are fresh, the ideas are ripe, and that makes us the best in the bunch. I am your host, Dominique Smith, and today, if you've been paying attention on Instagram and any of the social media platforms except TikTok, because I don't know how to use it, you know that we are doing a special Nurses Day project. Actually, it's going on for a week. These episodes will be released in the beginning of May. National Nurses Day is May 6th. And so we will have a week of fresh episodes celebrating the nurses who happen to be runners, since they are the backbone of this country. And today we have two legends, they're sisters. And so I'm excited to have them on. Miss Terri Sosa and Miss Lisa Sosa. Terri is from the great state of New York, Manhattan, and Lisa is from the great state of Florida. The 407 is where she is, where the only thing hotter than the weather is the traffic. What's going on? I appreciate you guys coming on the show.
Hi, thanks so much for having us. It's an honor.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having us on.
Of course, of course. So I always ask all the guests this, and you're in great company when it comes to, and I just realized that my logo is backwards. So if everyone could just ignore that nonsense that's going on, I'll fix that later. But I always ask this question. I have to ask you guys this. You are no exception to the rule. If you had to pick a superhero, and I'll mix it up a little bit, a superhero or television personality to describe you as a nurse, who would you go with?
So I'll go first because actually I'm sitting at the table and I have a patient who gave me this like giant mug that I use to hold my pens. And it says, I'm a nurse, what's your superpower? So
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, so I feel like nurses are our own type of superheroes.
I love that answer. Hey, listen, that's the first on the show, but that's my favorite answer. How about you, Miss Lisa?
Man, I can't top that. I would have to agree. Nurses are pretty awesome. Yeah, tops being a superhero any day.
You know, it's funny, like, if I'm not mistaken, the answers that I've gotten have been like Wonder Woman, I think. That's been like the key answer. But I have not heard an answer that trumps the Marvel series until now. So I am totally with that. I'm totally with that. That is the best answer. And I got to give a shout out to my friend Kristen Dornboss. She's been helping me with this project, and the graphic that you see essentially on social media will be what is used, kind of the theme of this project. So major shout out to her at the Paper Trails Greeting Companies, where they sell custom greeting cards specifically for the running community. So definitely check that out. So let's just jump into this. You two are the GOATs because you are nurses. Like I said, you are the backbone. You do the dirty work. You do the hard work. What was it about nursing that just stood out to you that made you want to do it? So I'll start with you, Miss Lisa, and then Terri, we'll get to you.
I mean, I've always wanted to be a nurse since I was little. We used to have our grandpa live with us growing up, and we would help him. And he was always like, oh, you guys would be such great nurses. And it just kind of stuck. I've always liked helping people.
Okay. What about you, Miss Terri?
Yeah, I mean, same thing. Like I've always wanted to be a nurse ever since I can remember. And I kind of went back and forth when I was older, if I actually wanted to do nursing or do physical therapy, or I always knew I wanted to be in the medical field. But I figured out pretty soon that nursing is the profession for me. Just like having that rapport with patients, and they trust us. So that's important.
So what's like specific, if you can kind of tell me about, the type of nurse that the two of you are, I guess the way, what kind of nurse are you essentially? Because there's so many different types.
Yes, there are. So We've been nurses since 2006. I started out as a pediatric nurse, and then I went to go on to be a nurse practitioner. And I've done a little bit of kind of dabbled in things. I did neurology, I did oncology, and now I work in neurosurgery with specifically brain tumors. So it's not the easiest thing, but I do love what I do. So
that is crazy. That's incredible.
Yeah.
How about you?
I started off in bone marrow transplant. So that was for 6 years as a registered nurse. And then I went to school to become a nurse practitioner after my sister. And I stayed in oncology. So I just do regular hematology and oncology. So blood disorders and all different types of cancer.
That sounds like a lot of school.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is incredible because you're treating like, I mean, every patient, you know, is serious, but that's like serious stuff.
Yeah, heavy. It can be heavy. Yep.
Heavy and always exciting. I was running out to the parking lot today trying to help a patient that collapsed. So it's been a day.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's crazy. This is, and the weather, this is not collapsible weather. This is beautiful weather. That's crazy. It's like 70 degrees outside. Is the patient okay?
Yeah, we got him over to the hospital, so he's fine.
Okay, well, prayers up for whoever that was. Didn't expect to hear that, but that's kind of like, I don't know. I guess that's part of the job.
I wasn't expecting that today, but I mean, you know, it kind of intertwined nursing and running today. So there you go.
I mean, that would boost my heart rate up, especially if I was walking. So which one of you is the oldest?
Me, Terri. I'm older by 1 whole minute.
Oh, so wow. So this is like a sister thing.
Oh, yeah.
Or
yeah, she's like, my person.
Oh, it's like twins. Like we have like, if this was like the nice version of Sister Act, then like it is this podcast essentially. Okay, so pretty much nursing is something that, you know, you've always wanted to do, but what's something about the profession that you love and something that you didn't expect when you got into it? It doesn't matter who goes first.
Well, something that I love is meeting new people and, you know, developing relationships with my patients and their families. Like with oncology, they come in all the time, so we get to know them really well. And then as far as something that I didn't expect, I guess I didn't expect when I going into bedside nursing as a new nurse, handing out a lot of drinks and turkey sandwiches.
Wow.
Yeah, I did a lot of
turkey sandwiches. So like the processed turkey or like the good turkey?
No, not good.
Wow.
Yeah, like,
okay.
Anything not good.
It's food, so anything. Well, no, I can't say that. I don't know, but maybe this is me. But you know, how do I say this? I don't like going to the hospital, but at certain hospitals, the food is like slappable. Like it is good, at least to me.
We have good food at New York City hospitals.
Oh wow!
There's like some Michelin chef that was working or consulting with some hospital here in New York. So yeah, it's a good experience when you come to the hospital.
I don't know. It's like I went down to one and then I saw the food they were serving. I'm like, I don't know if I should be eating this being at the hospital, but it's like, if something happens, I'm at the right place.
Very convenient.
I was like, oh man, sorry to get off track. But yeah, Terri, same question for you.
So what I love, I mean, I guess I would echo the same thing as Lisa, because I love meeting people. I love hearing their stories. I somehow have this special talent where people just tell me things, like crazy stories and secrets. And I actually worked with a doctor before, and he's like, how did you get them to tell you that? Like, how did they open up to you? So that's really cool. And something that I didn't expect, I guess the same thing, like the whole like hotel aspect of being in a hospital. Because you think you're working there to provide care, but in these days of healthcare, it's a lot of like patient satisfaction. So yeah.
I learned something. I learned two things. Well, no hospital sponsored this show, so I think I'm okay. You gotta be careful with those, because it's like, if you fill out something for a certain person for whatever reason, and this is not just hospitals, this is just everything as of the past couple years. If you have a complaint about like a specific thing, it does not matter. Like, the whole unit gets in trouble.
Yes. Yep. It's all about the surveys and the reviews.
And I'm like, I didn't even know this person. Like, why are they getting in trouble? But it's crazy. I've learned this over the past year, because unfortunately we had some, illnesses that led to death, in my family. A nurse is not just someone who, goes and takes your blood pressure, and you play the role of a therapist. And it doesn't matter, like, if you work in a hospital or you work in a doctor's office or whatever the case might be, you play the role of a therapist. You play the role of like a house cleaner, because you're cleaning people, you're like I said, you're talking to people, you're like a head coach. You really put yourself on the line more so than people. And I think that's what annoys me. Sometimes people don't understand that. And just me having a vantage point of knowing people, and being close with people who have to do that, and some of the things that they tell me, and you have to, like, on top of that, working like what seems like 24-hour days, you have to like keep a level of calm and niceness. Like you can't, in your mind you want to snap, because the phone is ringing and people are calling to see how people are doing, and you're dealing with maybe people who, understandably so, are scared or frustrated and stuff like that. And you have to be like the starting quarterback, or the marathon runner with 2 miles to go, who's going for the win. You have to stay like calm, cool, and composed in those situations. For the both of you, how do you deal with that, especially since the world, and I've said this, I think, was it Allie Feller? Somebody was on the show, and I just accidentally said it. It's like, sometimes it just feels like everybody sucks. Like, especially with just how mean people are getting, and everybody doesn't, isn't that bad. But how do you all do it, essentially?
Well, I do remind myself that, these people are going through a very stressful and scary time. So I usually give them a little more grace. I don't, it's not like a complete pass to be a mean person, but I do remind myself that, they're probably not at their best. And a lot of times it is just, like taking a deep breath and, reminding myself, like, don't freak out, just continue being a nice person.
Yeah. And, like for me, I just try to remind myself, like, don't take it personally. Kind of the same thing that my sister's saying, but I don't take it personally, because I know people are upset, they're scared. So that, and then, I usually get my run in first thing in the morning. So I'm a little bit like I wouldn't say tired out, but just a little more relaxed and not so crazy when I get to work. It kind of calms me down. So that's what I usually do.
After I ask this question, then I'm going to get to that because I'm not a runner. Like I was, if you've heard me on the show, when I competed in track and field, I threw the weights. I can do that. I can launch a discus or a shot put, but if you tell me to run, then I'm asking, what did I do wrong? Essentially. Interestingly enough, Terri, you being in New York, Lisa, you being here in Florida, you two just happen to be in the worst states when it comes to the pandemic. And unfortunately, we're starting to see numbers, ramp up again. And, both states were, at the epicenter, when the numbers were the highest. How did the two of you deal with that? Like, what was that time period like for you?
So I actually got COVID in the beginning, March 2020. Back when people didn't really know how to deal with it or how to treat it. It was really scary. So I was actually out of work for 3 weeks. And part of getting COVID meant that I wasn't at work. So I missed, I guess, like the very, very worst part of it. And even when I went back to work, they're kind of easy on me. They were understanding. So I wasn't like thrust into the, I don't know, like the fire. Yeah, it was a long recovery. It was kind of surreal, like seeing New York City almost empty. People not out on the streets. I remember there was a time when there was a curfew, and like if you weren't an essential worker, you couldn't be out. Yeah. So I guess I got through it by, the support of my friends and loved ones. I didn't really have running so much back then because I couldn't. It took a couple of months until I was able to kind of build back. But I did a lot of walking, so.
Yeah, that's crazy. Did you, were you down bad with it? Did you have a lot of the major symptoms?
So I remember the day before I knew I had COVID, I actually went for a run in Central Park after work, and it felt a little harder than usual. But I just thought it was, maybe it's just like stress from the whole pandemic. But then the next day is when I got really sick. Like it was very sudden, fever, exhausted. I could barely like keep my eyes open at work. Wow. I went early. The next day I was walking to the urgent care center, and I was short of breath after 2 blocks. And a couple months ago, I had ran the New York City Marathon and got a PR. So, yeah, I never had to be hospitalized, but I've never been sicker in my life. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, rough. It was rough.
Oh man, were you?
Yeah.
And Lisa, I'm gonna get to you as soon as I ask this follow-up question. Were you nervous about going back to work, and kind of what? I mean, were you able to sympathize, with the patients having had it? Just because everybody was freaking out. I remember when it first hit. It was like March. Well, it's crazy from my vantage point, but I remember like sneezing, and as the both of you know, especially you, Lisa, still living here, the pollen is awful. Like if you have a black car, it's going to be green the next morning. And I like sneeze. I'm like, oh God, I hope I don't have this and stuff like that. And it's just like totally fine, but it's just like, yeah, bad allergies. But how did that change your perspective? And, how did you move past the fear of maybe going back to, work as an essential worker?
I think part of it was I felt that since I got COVID already, I had this false sense of, okay, well, I'm good. Like what are the chances of me getting it again? So part of it was like, okay, well, I got it over with. So I'm safe. We all know that's not the case, but back then I didn't really have any issues, and I actually worked overtime shifts on a COVID floor a couple of times. So I was more like, all right, I'm ready to go. I'll work with these COVID patients. I got sick already, and I'm good to go.
Were you more, could you relate more, to the patients who are just probably terrified?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's scary because, like you could be healthy, and it might affect you a lot. And then, there's, you really never know how much COVID is going to affect you, because some people say, oh, it was just like a cold, and then other people are extremely sick, and there's really no way to predict, like which one you're gonna be. So yeah, it's terrifying.
Lisa, what was the process like for you, especially down here where and from what you told me prior to, you travel, and so each county is kind of different, Orange County, Volusia County, and all of that stuff, but what was that process like for you?
I mean, in the beginning, in Florida, we were pretty strict. And I work in outpatient mostly, so I wasn't in the hospital. So I felt a little safer. Anyone that had symptoms of COVID, they weren't allowed to come into the office. So that was okay. But it's just a different world out in like Volusia County and Seminole County. So a little more education patients as far as, wearing their masks, doing all the social distancing, all that stuff. Yeah, it was. And then the first time that I went into the hospital, of course, it was scary because I was like, oh my God, the pandemic is still going on. Just hoping and praying that I didn't catch COVID. I was so scared, especially because, I saw what my sister went through, and I was like, oh, I hope that doesn't happen. It was it was a scary time, like when my sister had COVID, because she was the first person that I knew and that had it, and she was so far away. And I mean, I wanted to be there to help her, and there wasn't a whole lot that I could do. So there's just this feeling of helplessness, and I didn't sleep for like 5 days because I was texting her like every hour, making sure she was breathing. And she's like, Lisa, I need to rest, like I'm sick. And then I'm like, okay, just let me know if you don't, like, if you feel worse. But some interesting times.
Those are terrible times.
They were terrible, yeah.
Oh man. And then if I'm not mistaken, they cancel or postpone outpatient, was it all outpatient procedures?
Oh yeah.
Anything that they said was elective, although that doesn't mean it's really elective, because say someone needs a biopsy to diagnose cancer or whatever, they consider that elective. But I wouldn't say that's an elective surgery. So yeah, lots of cancellations of important tests and procedures.
Yeah, I remember that, just needing to go to the doctor for a sinus infection. Even now, it's like crazy because I have to fill out, like, obviously, they asked about the vaccination, and then it's like, have you or any, have you been exposed? And like, even now, everything is just so different. Like, I could just roll up into the doctor's office, but hey, what's up, and all this stuff. But virtual visits are like, on the increase. Lisa, working in, outpatient, how much was your job affected?
I mean, especially in the beginning, everyone thought that it was going to be this like 2-week thing. We're just going to stay at home and then everything's going to go back to normal. So we were pushing patients out, like unless they had to really come in for treatment, we just kept pushing them out. And then after a while, we're like, well, we need to see them eventually. Yeah. So we slowly started bringing people back. But in the beginning, when we were limiting our schedule, I wasn't super busy at work, which was kind of weird. And then, of course, doing the virtual visits, like getting used to doing that was a little bit of a learning curve.
I'm not good at technology. As you can see, my entire logo is backwards, which is just, I don't even know how that happened. But did you guys like adjust to the new age, rather quick? Oh, kind of didn't have a choice. But what was that like going from like normal to whatever this is?
Yeah, I mean, it's totally different to do a virtual visit. I mean, so much of our job is patient contact and, like physically assessing a patient. There's only so much you can do through a computer. I can't listen to someone's heart or lungs or, a lot of the bulk of what we do. It's hard to do virtually. But I think we've learned that virtual visits, there is a place for it, and they're kind of here to stay. So
I remember, and then we'll transition to running. Lisa, it reminds me of something you just said about being home for 2 weeks. New York was getting slammed, and so at the time I was a sports clerk working for the Orlando Sentinel, and I was covering track and field for Florida Runners, another publication covering the Central Florida area. I think it was a Tuesday or a Thursday. No, it was a Tuesday or whatever. Yeah, it was a Tuesday because I worked 2 nights. And my friend was like, dude, they're canceling stuff. Like, you don't think this is gonna? I'm like, nah. And the thing is, it's like, okay, if they cancel sports, we're without a job. And so we're sitting there, I'm like, nah, man, don't even pay attention to it. We're gonna be good and everything, we'll be done. Then I look at my emails and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna be working from home for a week. And so we'll see you in 2 weeks. And he's like, okay, well, you think this will be? I was like, yeah, I don't think anything of it. And then meets are starting to get canceled left and right. I was like, yeah, I understand that. It's just precautionary. It'll be fine. Everybody quarantine or, social distancing. And if you're slow and you're racing a fast person, then social distancing is not a problem. So you don't have to, worry about that. And I remember eating at an Italian restaurant and my boss like, oh, yeah, the meet you're supposed to cover is canceled. And it's not looking good for the rest of the season. And it is so crazy. I never went back to that building after that. I thought I would be back in 2 weeks. Never went back. That is when all hell broke loose. And unfortunately, after being, furloughed and stuff, naturally they tore down the building of what used to be the Orlando Sentinel, which is so painful. But yeah, it's just crazy that was 2 years ago, essentially. And here we are, just still struggling. So let's get rid of this DEM talk for a second, and let's talk about the art of running. So Lisa, you said something interesting that I just can't wrap my head around. You run and then go to work. How do you do that? Because if I ran, then I'm going home and that's it. Like, put on Netflix, get yourself a piece of chicken or something like that, or something healthy. But for the both of you, just how that run work balance, especially for what you do. And I understand running has a place, for, and, I'm interested to hear your comments about, what running means to you guys. But before and after like a long day, I don't know how you ladies do it. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, I start my office day around like 8:45 or 9 o'clock. So, I'm not doing like those 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 12-hour shifts. So that's a little bit easier, but and also every day is not a hard day. Like it's not always a workout. Sometimes I'm just out there, kind of cruising. But I do run with friends a lot. I'm part of the Orlando Runners Club. So we have like our usual Wednesday morning run. And so I look forward to that and, hanging out with my friends and chit-chatting while we run.
So just pretty much echoing the question, why running for the both of you? Why running?
Well, I originally got into running because I was doing other forms of exercise, and it wasn't helping me lose weight. So it was a very like selfish reason, I guess. But then in the process, I learned to love running, and now it's just something that I need to do. It helps me clear my head. I actually run after work instead of, I don't wake up early like Lisa. I like to run after work, and that's kind of when I clear my head and kind of work through, like all the craziness of the day. And then after that, I feel calm and like stress free.
I can dig it.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
Yeah, actually.
Go ahead. No, I was just thinking the Orlando Runners Club. I need to remember that.
Yes.
I don't think I heard of that. Yeah, but go ahead.
Well, Terri started running first, and she did her first half marathon. And I think I was like in the last semester of grad school, and I was training for like a mini triathlon. And my sister just really enjoyed, running her first half marathon. So that's what inspired me to start. So I signed up for my first half marathon. It was a Miami half marathon and back in 2013. And Terri flew down and we ran it together and never looked back after that.
What's the difference between running in New York and running in Florida? In my head, one place is far more pleasant than the other. So I want to hear from you guys' perspective.
New York is far more pleasant because I hate running when it's hot and humid. I love running in like 40 to 60 degree weather. I mean, I'll even run in when it's 20 degrees. But I do not like running when it's 80 and the humidity is like 90% or whatever it is down there in Florida. Yeah, I like to change seasons.
I mean, I don't like the heat and humidity, but I just have to do it. Otherwise I don't get to run.
It's an acquired taste. Like
acquired it.
Yeah, well, because like today was 75 degrees. It was beautiful out there.
It was really nice. Yeah.
Like I can walk and I'm not struggling. But 2 days ago, we set a record high, it was 93 degrees.
Ooh.
And I'm like, this sucks. Like it's April. Like what is going on? And everything. So that's how you guys got into running. That's very interesting. Yeah. How has it brought the two of you closer together?
We oftentimes make vacations or trips out of races. Okay. So a lot of times we'll run a marathon or a half marathon in other cities and meet up there and run it together. Like we've done Twin Cities Marathon, Chicago Marathon, Marine Corps.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we turn it into a little racecation.
What's been the favorite marathon for each of you?
New York
City, for sure. There's nothing like it.
I've heard it's like one of the hardest.
It is challenging because of the hills and the bridges. The course itself, it's not easy, but the crowd support the whole way. Just so many people out there cheering. It's a party, and it's my favorite day in New York City.
Oh man,
yeah,
that is crazy. So when the two of you are not running, or working in nursing? That's what the people want to know on Lactic Acid. We got to know the heroes behind the scenes. So what's life like for you guys? What's the interest? What tell the people what they want to hear. Tell us a little bit about the both of you.
I have 3 dogs, so that takes
Wow.
up time. They're a little though, so they're still way less than one big dog.
Okay.
And I'm also a big foodie, so I like going to different restaurants around Orlando with my husband and trying different foods. And yeah, those are my main hobbies. And I also like breweries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm pretty similar. I only have one dog. He's a 6-pound Yorkie, and he's very chill. He likes to hang out on the couch all day. And then I also love food, and a lot of times I'll plan my run routes based on where I want to eat afterwards. So that's kind of how I like try different restaurants around the city, is running to.
Okay.
Yes.
I like that. So I'm not gonna lie. I think the food I don't care. I'm not a big fan of the food in Orlando. So what maybe because I've lived here for 27 years, of my 27 years of existence, I like Orlando like used to be like the jam. They used to have this, delicatessen called Ronnie's, and there used to be this place called oh my God, I used to eat there all the time. It was Morrison's. It was a kitchen, and it was heaven on Mills. What is it that you tried that you like? Maybe I'm trying the wrong thing. I don't think so, but
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like the pizza here, it's not the same as New York, but I like there's a couple places like on Mills, like Tacucina. I go to some pop-ups like Pizza Slut. I don't know if you've ever had her pizza, but
Pizza Slut.
Yeah, Pizza Slut.
Oh, that's an interesting name. I have not heard of that one.
Yeah, I mean, all different, and my husband's Mexican, so we're always trying to find tacos. Yeah.
The best pizza so I went to UCF, so technically I was hooked on Lazy Moon.
Yeah.
Something weird about Lazy Moon though. Like the pizza, they try to mimic New York with the size, because if you put it, the pizza could fit an arm. It's bigger than a baby, essentially, just one slice of pizza. I don't know if you've been to Blaze Pizza, but okay, I think it would change your mind if you would. Blaze Pizza is amazing. I got a Pizza Slut. That's a mouthful. I can't. I'll try it. Mills, I will say this, Mills is legit, especially on North Mills, the little strip. They have Hawkers and Firebird. I go to 2J's, it's the knockoff. It tries to be like on Terry's level of New York and everything, but I mean, I'll try it. I'm always looking for food suggestions. The College Park scene, they have some little restaurants. I'm a big Gabriel's brother, love, Gabriel's. And you talk about unhealthy turkey sandwiches, that's my jam right there. What's New York like? I mean, I can only imagine. I sit there, like I have diners, drive-ins, and dives on now. And when I see the New York places, it's just on my list of places to go. Granted, I can't afford half of them because I saw a place where a Reuben is like $25, but apparently it's worth it.
I think New York has the best food. You should definitely come up here and try it. There's like something for everyone. I have like my favorite pizza spots, taco spots, burgers, bagels. I guess the only reason why I like don't get fat, I guess, is because of all the walking and running. There's so much, like, you have to walk everywhere here or take
Oh,
public
yeah.
transportation, but yeah.
From what I've heard, New York is different. Like they
Mhm.
said, it's a waste of time getting a car.
Oh, don't need it.
You're just hailing taxis and walking all over the place. No, and like nurses, from what I've seen, you probably get like 25,000 steps a night or a day. Just
Probably.
pretty much,
Yeah.
based
Yep.
on how you walk. See, now that is something that would get me into running though. If I found like a dope restaurant and I can plan a run there, then that's something I would consider. I will
Mhm.
consider. If there was like a go-to restaurant that you had to live or die by in each location, where would it be?
Oh my god. Uh, that's a hard one.
Mm.
Uh,
Okay, fine. I'll be nice. Two of them.
okay.
You both of you gotta give me two locations.
Okay, so well, there's this Thai restaurant a couple blocks away from me. It's fairly new. It's called Sood. And
Okay.
they have the best Thai food I've ever had.
Oh
I
wow.
I remember like I went there 3 times in 1 month, and I tend to not go to places repeatedly just because in New York there's so many places to try. Um, but I love that place, and it's not like your typical Thai food. I think, yeah, it's not like pad Thai or I don't know, like drunken noodles or whatever. They actually have stuff that I've never heard of until I went to this restaurant. So I love that place. And then I guess I would say it has to be a pizza place. It's just so hard to pick one. Mm, there's this place called Lunetta,
Okay.
like a couple of blocks from my apartment, and I go there a lot, especially after a night of partying.
I got you.
So
Okay.
they're quite familiar with me. Really hits a spot. So
Okay.
yeah, those would be my two.
Okay. Okay. A nice night of partying. You go to where it's like a Cheers,
Yeah,
essentially, where everybody knows your name.
yeah, and they also throw like a healthy amount of shade my way, like, oh, you're here again, or oh, see you tomorrow. So it's fun. Yeah, they make fun of me like I'm, you know, family.
Well, I mean, you paying them money. I don't know about all that attitude, but I mean, if you can put up with it, then more power to you. Lisa, what about you? I'm really interested in this answer.
Um, okay, well, we have some really good desserts, and I have a sweet tooth. So I'm gonna say Gideon's. Their cookies are awesome. They're like the best in Florida. Have you ever had Gideon's?
I've never heard of Gideon's. Where is it?
They have their original in East End Market, and then they also have a little shop in Disney Springs.
Oh, well, no wonder I've never heard of it because I hate going to both places. But okay. There's just too many people at Disney Springs. But I have to say this, there is a Mexican restaurant out at Disney Springs. If you want real Mexican food, I think it's Frequesa or something like that. Carne asada tacos with the queso and the guac. You can thank me later. Yes. But no, you know what? I saw Gideon's. I saw it the other night. I did. Okay. But there were just too many people.
Well, if you go to East End, they're not as busy now because everyone goes to Disney.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Gideon's. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. What's the other place?
Well, I like this Mexican restaurant over like on the east side. It's called La Carretera. It's kind of new, but they make really large margaritas.
Hey.
Yeah. And I know chimichangas aren't like real Mexican food, but I like that too. It's pretty good.
Okay.
And they have a
Oh,
salsa, very important.
yeah,
I
that
love
is
trying.
very important.
Yes.
have you been to a place, I don't know if they have it in New York, but as far as cookies go, insomnia cookies?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we have
Yes.
that too.
Okay. See, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a drinker because it costs too much money, but
It does. Yeah.
those cookies are like the cookies that they leave for Santa Claus. Like they are so, oh man, this is like taking me back to the college days because you're like bringing up like,
Insomnia cookie today.
oh, oh man. And I was supposed to be on a diet, but no.
Just start running and you can eat whatever you want.
Well, here's the thing. It's my birthday next Thursday, so I start a week in advance and stuff like that. So, I had to hit up some wings today. So, okay, that's true. If I start running, I could eat whatever I want. That's more. See, when there's food involved, there's incentive. There's, but there's this place. You talked about margarita. It was called Fuzzies. It's not there anymore. But they had these like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fishbowl margaritas. It is like, it's like the whale, or I'm sorry, it's honestly, those things are as big as the fish that swallowed Jonah in the Bible. Like I don't know how people like it's a drink for like four. But no, I agree. Good salsa is the key to good Mexican food. Mm-hmm. What is the key to good pizza?
I guess they say it the water to make the dough. That's what they say, like why New York pizza is so good, because of the water. The water. But I don't know. I mean, is there really such thing as bad pizza?
Yes.
No.
I don't want to. I don't want to get into examples, but yes.
7.
Well, they do have these like 99-cent pizza places here. I don't know if they have them down there in Orlando, but they have them up here in New York. I've never tried it. I have a friend who like loves 99-cent pizza, but I can't see how 99-cent pizza would be delicious. So
it's in the water. I've never heard of that. So like, do they use like Fuji water instead of like Dasani or something like that? That's like
it's good old New York water. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna take your word. I'm gonna take your word for
Google
it. When I come up there, that's a question I'm gonna ask. Like, what kind of water do you use? Like, is it tap water or is it like Dasani, which no one drinks, or
exactly.
Like or something? Yeah, okay, well that's fair. So pretty much the pizza places that suck here use Aquafina, and they probably use Zephyr Springs or Zephyr Hills or whatever. So
yeah.
Okay, that's probably it. So I'm hungry, so we're gonna go back to running. What is it? You said that it kind of is a stress reliever for you. What was it like not being able to run during that time period? Terri, you kind of touched on it, that in essence it sucked, essentially. And you had to do more walking. And I remember, I worked for a publication that covered Ohio State football, and they have a player who's from New York, and he was saying he couldn't go outside, so he had to take milk jugs and fill it with sand because it was too dangerous just to walk outside because of it. So what was that like for the both of you? And did maybe it teach you not to take running for granted?
Yeah. It was frustrating, but at the same time, it kept me a little bit motivated to get back to where I was, which I feel like I'm still working on that. But yeah, definitely, I feel like I get to run because sometimes, like after a long day, you're tired, you think, oh, I don't really feel like running. I'd rather go home and sit on the couch, watch TV. But now I feel like I get to run. I am healthy enough. So it's a privilege to be able to do it.
How about you, Lisa?
I mean, I never stopped running, but of course, you know, a lot of races were canceled. And so I used to love racing. So I just, you know, enjoy it more now, knowing that, you know, races aren't always a guarantee. Like, you know, I mean, I did what I had to do and ran by myself. And, you know, I still enjoyed that time and got to, you know, have some time with my thoughts and things like that. But I definitely appreciate being able to run with my friends and, you know, have that whole race experience with my free banana at the end. So appreciation.
A free banana?
Yeah, you know how they give you your banana at the end of a race and maybe a medal.
Well, remember, I'm not a runner, so this is
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Listen, if there's going to be bananas and free food at the end of this, you know, the finish line, then that's more incentive to get running. What about the running community that you would change? If there was something that is an issue that you want to see fixed from your perspective, what would it be?
I feel like I want to see more inclusivity. I mean, especially when you go out to a marathon, it's very white. So I would want there to be more diversity and for people to feel comfortable, you know, coming out and you know, joining us on the run.
What about you, Miss Terri?
I do agree with Lisa, but also I don't know if I would say change this about the running community, but I just feel like people who don't run might not be so quick to take it up just because they might feel intimidated. So I feel that people shouldn't be scared to start running. And in general, I feel like runners are a very welcoming bunch of people. They've, you know, it's a very like social aspect, even though it's not a team sport, but you know, like if you're in a running club, you run with people. So in you know, like I've been in a running club and they've always been very welcoming, and it was hard in the beginning to kind of put yourself out there and be like the new girl, the new person. So in summary, it shouldn't be so intimidating for people to get started running. It's a good thing to do, and you know, runners love to welcome new runners. So
The two answers that the two of you just gave are two of the more pressing issues that I've heard from professional runners or just from your everyday runner. And so that's interesting. That is something that's noted. Now, I can tell you, you know, if I say you're like, oh, I'm going on a run, like I think I don't know who I was talking to. It's like, yeah, we went on a nice 15-mile run today. I was like, nah, I'm good. Because it's just like, okay, 15 miles, like I'm just cranking out one or two, you know, like I'm not about that. And so I do understand, you know, your point of view from both perspectives. What are your running goals for both of you? So you got, it seems like, how many marathons have the two of you run? Because it seems like you've been cranking out a bunch, marathons and half marathons.
yeah, I think like 8 or 9
Oh my.
marathons.
Yeah, I think I've done like 10.
So almost 20 combined marathons.
Yeah.
How many half marathons you would say?
Oh,
At least like somewhere between 25 and 30, maybe. I don't know. Lost
yeah.
count.
I would say the same, somewhere around there.
60 half marathons and almost 20. That just hurt my knees, man. That's crazy. What are the goals that the two of you have? What are some of the things that you want to achieve, you know, as runners?
Well, I think one goal is always to be faster than your previous, to get a PR, a personal record. But I guess after a certain age, you may reach a point where you're not really getting faster. I
That's
hope
right.
I'm not. But I guess my big picture goal is to be able to run for as long as possible. Like I want to be 60 years old and still out there running.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. And I mean, well, we haven't ran a marathon since right before COVID, November 2019. So I haven't been running like long distances in a while. So I'll just be happy to get out there for next marathon. We're signed up for Berlin in September.
Oh snap! Okay, I see.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Good beer from what I hear. So yeah,
Yeah.
that is definitely exciting. What is a misconception about nursing that the two of you, want debunked?
A good one, I think, is that we're not just like an assistant to the doctor. We do totally different, like we work together as a team, but I'm not the doctor's assistant.
That's
Mhm.
and go ahead, Terry, and I'll get to my comment later.
I was gonna say the exact same thing. In my career as a nurse and a nurse practitioner, I've always been an integral part of the team, and I'm not there just to do what the doctor says. I build relationships with the doctors that I work with, and they consider me kind of like their right-hand person, and they value my opinion. So, and they also appreciate when I speak up and boss them around, I guess you could say. So, yeah.
Well, you all as nurses, have more engagement, interaction consistently with patients, more so than doctors do. So no, you're not assistants. It's just like having two bosses in the hospital, essentially. At least from an outsider's point of view.
Mhm.
So that's but also what motivates the both of you each day, regardless of the challenges that you face? What is it that keeps you going back to the profession?
Okay, well, I I'm passionate about what I do, and I had mentioned before that I've worked in various roles as a nurse and a nurse practitioner,
Mhm.
and I think I don't want to say I'm in my forever home, but I really love neurosurgery and brain tumors. I feel like that's a weird thing to say, but I really love what I do, and that's what keeps me going back every day. And I love the people that I work with. That's always a big help.
I don't think that's weird. I think you found, whether it's brain tumors or emptying porta potties, if you find what you love to do, then do it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. What about you, Lisa?
I mean, basically the same thing. I've been in my current job for 8.5 years, and I mean, definitely I have stressful days and days when I joke around like I'm not coming back, but obviously going back. But I love what I do, and the doctor that I work with, he respects me and values my opinions. We make a great team, so, and I love my patients.
For young nurses in the profession, this will be the last one. Well, second to last one. But for young nurses in the profession, who's coming up, maybe having a hard time or just trying to learn the ropes, what advice would the two of you give to anyone who's listening?
Well, I would tell them to, just learn as much as you can. Really immerse yourself, ask questions, and also don't be afraid to speak up if you see something that's not right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's great advice.
I would also add, don't be afraid to ask for help. I feel like a lot of nurses are like this, where they say, "Oh, I'm fine, like I got it," and they're afraid to ask for or accept help. even when other nurses offer. So my advice basically is to ask for help if you need it, and never act like you know everything.
Yeah, that's a life hack for both. For both. How has this profession strengthened the bond between you all as sisters?
Well, I feel like we spend a lot of time talking about work and, the stresses and just crazy stuff that happens, and things that we see as nurse practitioners. And it's kind of hard to explain to people outside of the medical or nursing profession the things that you encounter every day. So the fact that I can tell Lisa and I know that she gets it, I kind of feel bad for Lisa's husband, because when she and I are together, all we do is like just talk about work, and he just kind of has to listen to us. So.
Yeah, I agree. No one else understands quite like my sister. She totally gets it. So, yep.
All right, we are now to our last segment called Down the Home Stretch. This is where I'm going to ask you guys some rapid fire questions, and I want you to answer them to the best of your ability. If you don't, no problem, because really nobody ever does, so you're fine. I think we're at 7 people. The winner was Kara Winger. She's an Olympian javelin thrower. Hey, Kara, you're still number 1. So, like I said, there's no pressure. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
If there was, and there's no specific order as far as who wants to go, it's whoever can think of the answer first. If there was a food that you could live with and a food that you would get rid of for the rest of your life, what would those items be?
No celery. Yes, tacos.
Did the both of you say celery?
Well, I agree with celery. My other choice would have been peas. But my live with one is pizza.
So pizza and tacos, they make the world go round. I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it. If there was a Food Network show that you guys would be a guest star on, what would it be?
Oh. Is there one where you just like eat things and not have to cook anything or bake anything?
Triple D's. I would do triple D's.
Okay, yeah, that one.
Diners, drive-ins, and dives. It's Friday night, so it's on. I'm watching it now. I need some recipe ideas, or it's on the TV. Okay, I got you. All right. If there was a song to describe the profession that you guys work in, what would it be?
I'm gonna say 9 to 5 because I love Dolly Parton.
I was gonna say that too, but then I was like, but I don't really. A lot of nurses don't work 9 to 5, but we do work hard, so there's that.
That's a song?
Yeah. Working 9 to 5.
No. Work. Oh, you were gonna say. I thought "Work Hard" was a song. Okay, yes, I know. Yes, I know. Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. All right, if they made a movie about the two of you and you had to pick an actress to portray your character or portray who you are, who would you pick?
Salma Hayek.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she's, brown. She's got long, dark hair.
Okay. Okay.
I guess, well, we're twins, so I guess I go with Salma Hayek too. Or someone that looks like her. I don't know.
I'm not going to get in trouble by this, so I'm not going to answer that question. Okay. That's fine. All right. What is the dream location to run at?
Anywhere that we are together.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So Lisa says the same thing. If you had to pick someone to narrate the both of you running a marathon, who would it be? It could be anyone from James Earl Jones to Selma Hayek to Shalane Flanagan, Allie Feller, Dwight.
Allie.
He's so
Okay.
bubbly.
She is the best. That would actually, I forgot what marathon she's covering, but yeah, that would be a good one. That would be everybody's dream. A couple more. Best season.
The fall.
The fall. Lisa, what is your answer? Was it fall? Because we don't have seasons here. Okay.
Well, I mean, that whole idea of fall, and also I love football, so.
Hey, okay. So who's the go-to football team for the both of you?
Go Gator.
Both of you are the Gators?
Yeah.
We went to UF.
I was gonna say you're from Miami and you root for the Gators. I was like, okay. That's okay. I root for the Buckeyes and not for Orlando. That's all good. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. All right. Let's see how it is. That's okay. What's the dream award show to attend?
Well, I love music, so I would say the Grammys.
Okay.
I was about to say Grammys when you started talking, so.
Okay. The Grammys. Okay. I was curious if somebody would say the Oscars. All right. Last couple of questions. Yeah. Last. You can, and there's something there, but I'm just gonna leave that alone.
Yep. We all know.
last TV show that you binge watch.
Euphoria.
Same. I was really trying to like have a different answer than Lisa, but yep, it was boring.
Okay, this is two more questions. If there was a talk show, if you two were started your own talk show, what would the name of it be called?
Sister? I don't know.
That's not already taken by Tia and Tamara.
Oh man.
Talk.
Let's talk.
Twin Talk.
Twin Talk. Twin Talk. I don't think that's taken. Okay, Twin Talk. I like that. Two of you are twins, so
yep.
I like that. All right. Last question. What is a quality that both of you admire about each other?
My sister's strength. She's very strong.
Okay.
I admire that Lisa doesn't care about hurting people's feelings. Like, she's just very
Thanks.
Yeah, she like really speaks up. Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't expect to hear that. Lisa says she don't care about hurting people's feelings. All right, then fine. I gotta ask a bonus question. If you had to pick a song to describe your sister, you as twins, what would it be for you, Terri? Lisa, what would you pick for Terri? Terri, what would you pick for Lisa?
Man.
Okay, I'll go. I would pick Wind Beneath My Wings.
Oh, why that one?
Because Lisa's always there for me. She's my.
Oh, okay. What about you, Lisa?
I was gonna say Freebird because I feel like my sister Terri, she's a little, a little more adventurous and more of a free spirit than I am.
It seems like the both of you are adventurous.
Well, yeah, we're both adventurous, but I feel like my sister is more of a free spirit.
Okay.
I did meet, I had a Lyft driver the other day, and we were just chatting, and he told me that I seemed like a free-spirited person. So there's that.
Okay.
Yeah. I give off free spirit vibes.
Okay. I can see it. I thought Terry's answer for Lisa was going to be Aaron Neville's Tell It Like It Is.
That's so good.
Initially, and then
That's really sure.
oh God, what was the song? There was a song. Oh, good gravy, Marie. There was a song that was in my head that I felt like Lisa would give to Terry, but it went away. It's so devastating. But anyway, that is it. Ladies, thank you for everything that you do. And I wish you guys a happy Nurses Day. And I hope you feel the love each and every day. You are the heroes that we need, but don't deserve. And we are truly grateful for you. I am Dominique Smith. This is Lactic Acid. You know where to find me. And I'll tell you anyway, if you don't. So we're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Google Play. We're on Overcast. You can find us there, the Lactic Acid Podcast. Like the podcast, subscribe. It helps the algorithm go up and it lets you stay up to date on all the new episodes that are released. Instagram, Lactic Acid Podcast. Twitter, Lactic Acid _pod. I'm still holding on to TikTok. I don't know how to use it, never will, but you know, it would make me happy if you followed me because at least my followers can get up to an elite level, even though you won't see any content. Lactic Acid Podcast. And if all of that confuses you, just go on lacticacidpodcast.org. You can find all of the latest episodes in the articles. I am on FanHub TF. That's where this article on these two lovely ladies, as well as all of the other nurses, are part of this series will be as well, in addition to the podcast episodes. And YouTube, if you want to watch it, if you don't feel like listening, you want to watch me make a fool of myself with the backwards logo, you go on right ahead and you can subscribe there and check out all the latest content. If you're interested in sponsoring the show, shoot me an email, lacticacidpodcast@gmail.com. Would love to talk with you. Would love to put your brand into our little family. Until next time, be kind to one another. Peace.